Okay, guys, so today let's talk about a sensitive topic. We are in a difficult moment in time where there are some countries that are fighting each other. There is an animosity between nations. We have been on the brink of World War III. And I think this is a good opportunity for me to talk about what happens with money when war unfolds, what has happened historically, and what should happen with Bitcoin in this case. So first off, you need to distinguish that in the past, when we were operating on the gold standard, or at least when we were operating with gold as the monetary universal medium of exchange and reserve currency, if you were a king, if you had a kingdom, basically you will be collecting taxes from your citizens. And those taxes will be maybe in gold coins, will be basically something that you will accumulate on your treasury, basically. But what happens over time if your kingdom starts to spend too much money? If you as a king say, well, these are great times, let me get a lavish lifestyle, and all of a sudden you start running out of money. There isn't enough gold to fund your operation, to keep your citizens with all the social security, with all the benefits that they have for being part of your kingdom. So at that point, you have only a few options. Since you're on a gold standard and you are not an alchemist, and there isn't any alchemist in the world that can create new gold, basically what will happen will be that you either tax your citizens higher, which is going to be something that they will not like. You cut spending significantly and you reduce your lavish lifestyle to a frugal lifestyle, which again, it's unlikely that any king will do that. Or three, you declare war to an adversary country with the hopes that basically you win that war and you can seize all their gold, all their properties, all their things that will be beneficial for you. And in the past, when money was finite by the amount of gold that the king will have, basically the war will only last as long as the king had reserves on their treasury. Then as long as the king had gold. If the gold ran out, then how do you fund additional troops, additional deployments, additional funding to produce whatever you need to actually get into war with your adversary country? At that point, you need to surrender, but that changed over time. And the second we introduced paper money, basically these IOUs from the bank saying, yes, I have your gold, what started happening with the governments is that they had a fourth resource, not taxing, not cutting spend, not declaring war, but basically just printing money. They can just turn on the printer. Now, if I have this mechanism to print more money, yes, you have inflation, yes, you have all of this, but it's the easiest way for the government basically to get out of the issue that they have created. Now, in a world where you have paper money and you declare war to an adversary country, what happens if you run out of money? Well, you always have the printer. So the problem in the current system that very few people realize is that governments can fund wars unlimitedly, and they don't have any stop where they run out of money and they need to declare basically their surrender. They need to, or they will keep going for as long as they can. How? Just by printing more money, which means just stealing from you as a citizen, as a taxpayer. They are devaluating the currency and they're issuing more to produce more weapons, to pay for more, again, services, food, whatever is needed to fund that war. So it is something that, again, it's embarrassing that people don't realize how much money is being stolen from us by funding wars that we haven't asked for. Now, what happens with Bitcoin? Bitcoin is like gold, where you have a finite amount of Bitcoin that is around. Right now, we have about 20 million Bitcoins that have been mined. The next million Bitcoins is going to be mined between now and the year 2140. So it means that if we were on a Bitcoin standard, much like we were with the gold standard, essentially we would have a mechanism where the governments cannot use the money printer to keep funding unnecessary wars. So look at this difference. I cannot believe that we move from hard money to paper money, and people don't realize that wars are funded by just printing more of this crappy method of money that we have right now. So hopefully at some point, with all the embracement, with all the adoption from companies, pension funds, ETFs, and soon enough nation states as well, we're going to be back to hard money, to something that is backing our fiat paper with actual hard money behind the scenes. And hopefully when we get to that reality, it will be something that will minimize wars, because in that scenario, basically the government running out of money to fund the war will need to ask their citizens that actually have hard money for, hey, can you please help me funding this war? And oh, by the way, if you're in a country that is being attacked by a foreign nation and you are in a situation where you don't know if your property is going to be seized, you don't know if you need to abandon the country, just imagine what happens when you want to retain your economic power in an asset that doesn't lose money and that is fully portable. So that's the second thing that I want you to realize with Bitcoin. Unlike with gold, gold could be seized, gold could be confiscated, gold couldn't be transported across borders. This technology, Bitcoin, with 12 or 24 words that you remember in your head, you can basically store your economic power on your brain, or on a piece of paper, or on something that is absolutely transmittable, portable, and easy to move around. So just reflection to make you realize the difference between the current system and hard money. Hopefully in the future we will see a better world where wars are harder to fund because we're back into hard money. In any case, please like, subscribe, share. It helps me a lot, and it helps for this project to go to those that need it the most. Let's talk some more and talk to you soon.